I'd like to welcome everyone to the 150th anniversary celebration for the Allegheny County Law Library. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Joel Fishman, Associate Director for Lawyer Services, Emeritus, serving as the moderator for this evening. Before we start, I'd just like to introduce my family, but I'm not sure if they're in here or not yet. They're way in the back, okay. My wife Penny is in the back, and my two sons, Stephen and Michael, are here. Stephen's a graduate of the Duquesne Paralegal Program, and Michael's a graduate of the law school. So thanks for coming. I wish to introduce Associate Dean Frank Liu, who's been the director of both libraries. He's been instrumental in putting together our symposium that we had yesterday on the future of county law libraries and for the reception this evening. Frank will say a few words and introduce President Ken Gormley of Duquesne University, and then I will continue the program. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Frank Liu. I'm extremely honored to be the director of the Allegheny County Law Library. As we, the Duquesne University School of Law Library, took the management of this library almost 20 years ago. So we did not know that we'll see this day, but we are here. We are extremely gratified for all the support from the Duquesne University, from the bench and the bar, from general public, as well as my colleagues who worked so hard to make this a reality. So we're extremely honored to have the president of Duquesne University here with us. So it is my great honor to introduce him. President Gormley's many accomplishments are very well known. He is a Harvard law grad, a constitutional law expert, and a respected educator. Prior to becoming president of Duquesne University, he was the 11th dean of the Duquesne University School of Law. His award-winning book, The Death of American Virtue, Clinton versus Starr, was a New York Times bestseller. In 2016, he edited the book, The Presidents and the Constitution, A Living History, which features a chapter on each U.S. president by renowned experts in their field. He served as president of the Allegheny County Bar Association, the first academic to hold that position in the organization's 137 years history. And he served as the mayor of Forest Hills. In short, President Gormley is an exceptional and nationally known lawyer, professor, scholar, educator, and public servant. What has not been adequately talked about is his unique character and leadership style, which I believe is the secret of his success. President Gormley is a man of strong faith who has a profound love for his family, deep and lasting loyalty for his friends and colleagues, and an abiding devotion for his students. He has an uncanny ability in discovering the unique ability and talents of an individual. He gathers able and talented people around him to achieve common goals. He respects them, encourages them, gives them his full confidence and full authority to get things done. He cares for them, remains loyal to them, and constantly maintains personal contact with them. They, in turn, return the favor by giving him feedback, advice, and loyal support. Through years of practice, a permanent bond of a mutual respect, friendship, and loyal support developed between him and a wide network of followers. I am one of them. I want to use this special occasion to publicly thank him for his confidence, encouragement, and support for all these years. President Gormley has been a true supporter for the Allegheny County Law Library and its mission for serving not just the bar, but of ensuring access to the law for all members of the community. So please join me in welcoming President Ken Gormley.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Frank, and good evening to everyone. It's an honor to represent Duquesne University here, both as its 13th president and also as a law professor and a longtime member of the Allegheny County Bar Association to celebrate this occasion of the 150th anniversary of this library. And it's amazing to think about the key role in the establishment and evolution of American legal practice that this library has played, realizing that the first public library in the Commonwealth was not in Philadelphia, but right here in Pittsburgh, which shows the foresight of our public officials, legislators, ACBA leaders, and Duquesne University visionaries at the time, including, I might say, Professor Frank Liu, who played a pivotal role in making all of this possible. I always talk about the impact that Duquesne has had on the legal community here in Western Pennsylvania. For over a century, we opened our doors in 1911, just about 2 blocks away from here. I don't know if all of you realize it. The first law school, which was a night program, was on 4th Street, where the garage for Oxford Center is today. And it was open to give thousands of young men and women at that time, many of them recent immigrants, the opportunity to enter the profession. And so Duquesne Law School not only changed those individuals' lives, but also touched the lives of thousands upon thousands of clients whom they served. We have produced literally by this point tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of practicing attorneys who've worked in every aspect of the profession, in small firms, large firms, corporations, not to mention producing more distinguished judges than any other law school in Pennsylvania. A number of them are here today, as well as just many distinguished elected officials in all branches of government. Today, though, we're here to recognize an often less heralded contribution that Duquesne has made and the law school to this region's legal community. It was 2 decades ago that my predecessor, President John E. Murray Jr., began talks with county officials and ACBA leaders about the idea of Duquesne taking over this important asset because it was in difficulty. And after many late-night meetings, this mutually beneficial partnership began in 1999. It was the first agreement of its kind in the nation, a real innovation, an innovative solution to a big challenge that was actually facing many, many law libraries across the United States. I'm sure many of you here today can remember what this place looked like before the Duquesne Agreement. I certainly do, because I spent countless hours in this law library. In fact, I used to sit right about where Rebecca the photographer is here, working on my briefs as a young lawyer. The place hadn't been painted in decades. The furniture was faded and scratched, the flooring was all scuffed up, and the lighting was about the same as if you were trying to read the Atlantic Reporters by candlelight. It was pretty bad. And this is true, there were a total of 2 computers in the library. Staffing was grossly inadequate. And so once then President John Murray gave the green light to Frank Liu, he took off and accomplished a miracle that not even Hollywood could match. And I was saying to my wife, it was kind of like Extreme Makeover, law library style. Within a year, everything had been cleaned, refurbished, new lighting installed. This balcony lounge up here was renovated, staffing was increased significantly, and 20 computers were installed and ultimately Wi-Fi. The improvements have just continued at a steady clip thanks to all of the work of all of the folks here. Probably, as most of you know who worked here, the most appreciated, Frank was showing me, see those little silver things up there? Those are the air conditioning units. Any of you who remember, I almost passed out about 10 times working here in the heat in the summer. But not only has it become more suited to patrons here, it's more functional for all legal professionals, and it's also actually eased the financial burden on the county. So duplications of collections have been eliminated, greater variety of printed and electronic materials introduced. And I am proud to say, and I really don't consider this an exaggeration, that this has now established the gold standard for public law libraries across the United States. So those local officials and ACBA officers and Duquesne folks really exhibited great innovation and ingenuity in doing this. And, again, it was Dr. John Murray, Frank Liu, Robert Reith from the Law Department of Allegheny County, Joel Fishman, who you just heard from, Dave BLANER, the Executive Director of the Allegheny County Bar Association, who you'll hear from, Tom McGough, who was then the President of the Allegheny County Bar Association, actually figured out how to not just save this treasure, but maintain it for future generations. And in my view, this has turned out to be one of the true great success stories in this legal community of all time. So on behalf of the faculty, staff, and 90,000 alumni of Duquesne University, we're extremely proud of the partnership that has been forged here and the fruits that it has been produced. I know that this magnificent library's services to our region, to our community, will be even greater in the years to come. So congratulations to Frank, to Dave, to everyone else, Joel, who helped to make this wonderful milestone possible. And I can't wait to see what party Frank has planned for the 200th anniversary. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for receiving me by video tonight. Unfortunately, I had a prior engagement out of town, or I certainly would be with you. So many congratulations to the Allegheny County Bar Association and to Duquesne University for this extraordinary collaboration, probably the first in the nation, between a bar association, a local government, and a university. Great wisdom is reflected in the initial outreach by Dr. John Murray and our colleagues here, including our own Frank Liu. and also Dave Blaner, who is the Executive Director of the Bar Association. 20 years is a long time, but it has been 20 years of a great relationship and hopefully many more 20 years in the future. But tonight, take a moment to celebrate this great event and the good work we've done for our community by having this collaboration. Thank you, and God bless.
Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. David Blaner, Executive Director of the Allegheny County Bar Association, to say a few words.
Thank you, Joel. Greetings to everyone here in attendance today. It's a great day. It's a great time to celebrate. As Ken mentioned in his remarks, I was involved in part of the process to change the operation of the law library. And I have to tell you, when the grenade was rolled under my tent, that the county was defunding this operation and we had to save it, the presidents of the Bar Association, I think it was Tom McGough, said, Dave, I want you to know that we're not going to close the law library under my watch. So you and Joel Fishman need to figure out a solution to this thing. That's not my job generally. When you think about bar associations and working with attorneys and judges, that somebody says, hey, they're going to defund something and you need to figure out a way to save it. First thing we did, as most bar associations do, we formed a committee. And we got a lot of attorneys and a lot of people involved who had the goal of preserving this facility for the use by the attorneys, by the public, and by the courts. And what's the first thing you do when you have a problem? You have to study it. So what we did was we went back to the county and said, we know you have financial problems, but can you spare $25,000? We'll put in $25,000, the Bar Association, and we'll hire a consultant and we'll study this problem. So Joel and I became connected at the hip over the course of about 6 months, and we learned about the different operations of law libraries throughout the continental U.S. And we looked at every model and everything that was out there, what would work, what might not work, funding options. Now, we weren't looking for a small amount of money. We were looking for about $500,000 to fill a funding gap to keep this place operational, keep it staffed, and then do all the public improvements, facility improvements that President Gormley mentioned. So not only was it a structure issue, but it was a funding issue. We had early discussions with Duquesne and Frank, and they were an option. We had discussions with the University of Pittsburgh and their leadership, and that was an option. And we had discussions with Carnegie Library, and they kind of ruled that out at the beginning, that that would not be an option for us. And we also talked about creating, of all things, a law library authority. Nobody had ever done it, but we were thinking about it. All options that ultimately boiled down to Duquesne University being the right partner. And it was really Frank Liu and Joel working together with our consultant Joel Rose and Associates, who gave us the guidance and the suggestion to partner with Duquesne University. And really Frank and Joel started to put the plan in that made this thing work. So we had the structure, we knew what we wanted to do, but we had one small problem: we didn't have the money. And so we had to go to the court and ask for a filing fee increase. So the court and the Bar Association had to agree to tax itself. Not an easy problem to overcome. Nobody likes taxes, nobody likes assessments, nobody likes fees, and especially when you're asking them to double or triple them. And everyone came together to do it. It was one of those aha moments that you're wondering if you can pull it off. We did. There were hurdles along the way, but I think what you see and what you've heard is a testament to Frank's intestinal fortitude, to the partnership with Duquesne University and their involvement in our community, and the Bar Association. I think our role was a little less than everyone else's. Our lifting was a little less. Ours was more behind the scenes, making sure that the courts and the funding sources were there. When I came in today, I looked at the date of the law library and I said, oh, that's kind of interesting. It was founded 3 years before the Bar Association was founded. Now, you would think that'd be the other way around. The attorneys would form the association and they'd say we need a law library, but that wasn't the case. The judges and the attorneys individually said there was a need for this facility and for a law library, and so they came together before they actually formed the association itself and said we need a facility where we can do our research and read the law and represent our clients. And I think that's a testament to the bar. I think that's a testament to the county and the vision that it had at that time. And to think that 150 years later we're still here and very unique is a testament to the leadership of this community. So congratulations from the 6,000 members of the Bar Association on a wonderful 150 years, and hopefully we'll be here in another 150. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We did go through a lot, and I'll say a few words about it later on. It's my pleasure right now to introduce Dr. Charles Perrine. Charles is the great-great-grandson of Percival Digby, the first law librarian of the county here, who from 1883 to 1907, and it's his oil painting that's in the front of the library as you come in. Charles would like to say a few words on behalf of his great-great-grandfather, and we'd also like to recognize his daughter, Shannon Perrine, who is an anchor at WTAE Channel 4. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
It's a very big mistake to give a microphone to an old man. When I was young, my mother made much of the fact that her grandfather's portrait hung in the county law library, and I confess that I didn't believe her until one day when I was in graduate school. I'm sorry, it was at Pitt.
You can't have everything in life.
That's right, thank you. I wandered in, and there he was on the wall. My great-grandfather, Percival Godspeed Digby, was named the librarian after being an assistant for 1 year. And on May 7th, 1882, the local papers at the time record that a catastrophic fire destroyed the courthouse. It was the second courthouse. And the family legend is, this is in the same realm as urban myth, but the family legend is that Percival Godspeed Digby spotted the fire from his home up on Coal Hill, which is now called Mount Washington, and he raced down the hill in a horse and buggy and rescued some of the most valuable law books in the library. He was honored for his bravery by the Bar Association, whose members presented him with 2 large ceremonial courthouse keys, of which Shannon is the current custodian. I think they're here in the building, but I'm not sure they could get them unlocked. But they're here somewhere. Okay. During his 26-year tenure, the library grew to 40,000 volumes, making it at that time the largest law library in the world. There was no catalog. No catalog. But there was an amazing pre-digital search engine, and his name was Percival Godspeed Digby. My great-grandfather knew where every volume was and where every case was case by case. And lawyers from Pittsburgh would come in and ask for a particular case, or they'd name the salient facts, and Percy would go and fetch the correct volume and open it to the correct page and point to the place in the book. Local attorneys who knew about this won an awful lot of free dinners at the Oyster House by betting out-of-towners that Percy couldn't do it. As far as I know, he never failed. He was kind of a larger-than-life person. He spoke in France and England about the finer points of law libraries. We have a really fancy invitation from the Lord Mayor of Bath in England, inviting him to come and speak. He was active in the community, too. This was in the paper. He once inveigled a bunch of Pittsburgh lawyers into a 20-mile bike ride from Pittsburgh to Rochester to raise money for charity. Some of the lawyers here would probably like to see that. There's another newspaper article about PG relating how he was once approached in Niagara Falls on a freezing winter day when there was an ice bridge across the Niagara River above the falls, which happens sometimes. Well, an enterprising con artist was charging people a toll to cross the ice bridge until Percival came along, and he was having none of it, and he sent the scoundrel packing. And the scoundrel came up and asked Percival, "Say, bub, are you a lawyer?" And my great-grandfather said, "No, but I know a mountebank when I see one." Eventually, officials began to worry about what would happen if anything ever happened to Percival. And on August 11, 1907, there was a newspaper article reporting that he had been sent to Baltimore and Philadelphia to study their card catalog systems. After this, I think he finagled them to pay for this, but he was supposed to rest up in Atlantic City after he did that, and then come back and work on that. And he was supposed to create a catalog. Sadly, this task fell to other hands. Percival's body was found in the Ohio River on October 3rd, and the coroner ruled it as a presumed accidental death. He was 45 years old at the time. And that's the story of the ginger-haired man whose portrait greets you on the way in. Thanks for allowing our family to share.
Thank you, Dr. Perrine. That was very interesting. I knew some of that, but not all of it. My assignment for tonight is to give a brief history of the library, and I'm going to just go over 3 different aspects of it. And some of it's been repeated, or will be repeated of what we've heard already, but filling in a couple of gaps. So first, the administration of the library. The act was created the act creating the library was in 1867, and it provided for a county law library managed by a 5-man library committee. This committee running the library served as an independent organization or agency within county government up to the 1970s. In the 1970s, the library came under the Court of Common Pleas. And so we were under the court until 1997. In 1996, some of you may remember that Republican commissioners came in and cut property taxes 20% the first day in office, and the court during that year had to sue over getting its budget back. President Dower, at the end of the year, in order to maintain his 1997 budget, let the library out of the court, and so we came under the Solicitor's Department in 1997. We had a budget cut of 75%, and as 2 of the people have stated, there was a big discussion from the bench and the bar about restoring the funding. An agreement was made to give $500,000 back from the county and raising of the filing fees. After that time, for 2 years, not too much was said, at least on my part. And in December 1998, it was announced to me that we would then have a merger or agreement with Duquesne University. And so Duquesne took over the library in 1997, and we have had a successful contract operation over the last almost 20 years. And I expect we're at the end of the fifth year contract, and next year we hope to have the fifth 5-year contract signed and agreed, and I think it will go through easily because of all the success that we've had in terms of the cooperation between the two organizations. Second, I wanted to just turn to the librarians that have been on the job here. Following Percival Digby, we have Oscar Emmerich, who served from 1907 to 1956. Between the two gentlemen, the library ended up being one of the largest county law libraries in volume size by the 1960s, including a very large legal history collection back to 1488. Edward Hamilton and Kirk Wilson served for almost 12 years, followed by Michael Miller as the 5th law librarian for 10 years from 1968 to 1977, and then I served from 1977 to 2016. I served 22 years as county law librarian before becoming assistant and then associate director for lawyer services under the partnership with Duquesne. Following my retirement in last June, Ms. Patty Horvath became the 7th librarian and first woman director appointed by Frank Liu to serve as the library. I would also at this time like to thank the people who I've worked with over these years. Patricia Struble, who completed 45 years in the library, rose from clerk to assistant law librarian when she retired in 1999. Elaine Rayback served 24 years as my administrative assistant before going over to the court. Current staff, Paul Recht has been here 30 years. Richard Hovis, Rich here? Rich has been here 15 years, and Lori Hagan has been here 11. And I want to thank Lori for doing the PowerPoint slide on the history of the library that will be available here. The third part of the history is the transition of the library from a print collection to a mixed print electronic database collection. The library maintained an excellent federal and state law collection of primary and secondary sources. And when I came to the library, as Dr. Prine stated, there was a card catalog created after Percival Digby had died. And the card catalog took up this whole area where the computers were. And it was a 4x6 card catalog. And for those of you who know the West Digest system, the subject catalog was based on the West Digest system. And it wasn't until the first year that I started here that we started changing the collection over to Library of Congress classification system, and then started cataloging the library through OCLC in 1981. We also built up a microform collection of over 75,000 volumes and introduced word processors in 1982, fax machines in 1985, and we purchased the first part of an online system in 1987 that was finally completed in 1994. And I have to thank the bar in part for funding part of the operations of the purchases of these different units that make up our online system that we have today. We also offered a book publication series that has been very successful over the years, including works like Judge Weddick's Allegheny County Discovery Opinions. Following our partnership with Duquesne, the library was renovated under the direction of Dean Liu, who received a special recognition from the Pittsburgh History Landmarks Commission. Computers were added to the main room, and a computer lab was set up in the back area here, where we've given over 250 CLE presentations since 2001. In 2002, the library was finally air-conditioned. That was a major change. And library also started a membership program that has succeeded in having more than 1,500 to 2,000 members of the bench bar and general public. using the facility and accessing databases like Lexis, Westlaw, Hein Online, and other databases. The library stands today as a premier county law library in the country, completing its mission statement to serve the bench, bar, and public of the county. And I'll now turn to Patty Horvath to give us her plans for the future of the library as we move forward. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I want to thank everyone for coming and sharing this night with us. And I also want to thank my staff for all the hard work that they have done to prepare for this evening. I especially want to thank my assistant, Lori. Then, I must give a recognition to all the county workers who helped us renovate and clean our library over the past few weeks, actually past few months. The supervisors of these departments and their workers have been amazing. We also have the help of the IT departments from Duquesne University School of Law and the county courts, as well as the Bar Association, who have made all the electronics possible tonight. And lastly, I want to thank the DCLI staff and Duquesne University PR staff who have helped make the arrangements and promotion for our event. In the last year, our staff has worked hard to bring this library back to life in both the facility and the services we are offering. We have seen an increase in the usage of our library, and the attendance in our CLEs have doubled. We aren't finished yet. We have more work to do to transform this library for the next phase of the law library service. We have opened a new consultation room this year, and our paid members can use it free of charge, and a lot of you probably do not know that. This room is locked at all times, but you can get the key at the front desk. It can be used to meet with clients before, during, in a recess, or after a case in the building or next door. It could be used for confidential phone calls. It could be used for depositions. We have a lot of uses. It's a small room with one table and 4 chairs. It also is equipped with a large TV and a computer. And we hope that most of you will learn in the coming weeks how to use this and start using it in the months to come. But we have more rooms planned for the future. We have planned to improve our CLE offerings at that same low cost that we charge, and we are continuing to approach local legal experts to put timely programs together that are current and interesting. We may be calling upon one of you in the future. We want to expand our classes to target paralegals and beginning attorneys to get training that they will need to do their jobs. We also plan free or low-cost classes for self-help litigants. We are always open to suggestions for CLE programs or educational classes. We have also big plans for our collection. We want to expand our remote access for those who want to use our resources from their offices rather than to come here. But unfortunately, that remote access for most of our things are only open to the firms that are 61 or under attorneys. That's the contracts we signed. We will never have Westlaw and Lexis remotely. That's just not going to happen. They just don't allow that. However, our Westlaw patron access subscription will be upgraded in January to a better coverage because we're a court library. It will give you more secondary resources for all the states, not just Pennsylvania, and then images are back. That's something we've asked for, and we brought them back for you. We've also expanded our Hein Online coverage to include the ABA library, the bar journals, and the state practice library, and it will be available remotely in January. Again, 61 and under firms, and of course sole practitioners as well. We hope to expand our self-help section of our library as well. We are in the process of adding books as we can, and we can afford to. And we know this is the new and upcoming part of the law library. We have also have another whole floor to renovate, 8.5. This will take some capital fundraising, and it will take a lot of work and support from the legal community as well as the county. I will address that much-needed foundation that we need for that and the future, but I won't go into that tonight. This renovation that we plan on the floor below will have space for possibly both law schools to have clinic available down there, and we also hope to have more lawyer-client areas and self-help areas for the legal community and the self-help litigants to use. We are currently putting out ourselves on social media. You can look for us on Facebook, you can look for us on Twitter, you can look for us on Google, and we also have information all the time about our CLEs and any news that's coming up and any new resources that we have. We have a web page, and we have an ACLO wire that's an electronic newsletter. We have plans for a blog in the near future to keep you up with current news in the area and anything local. We want to continue to improve our footprint in the community, so we are using more social media every day to mark our future. I want you to keep watching us because we have a lot yet to do and a lot yet to come. And we hope that we can grow and meet all the needs of the legal community and general public for the future. Thank you.
Okay. Our last speaker is going to be Lori Hagan, who has at least one proclamation to read, 2 proclamations.
I want to thank everybody for coming for this historic event. This is so awesome, especially working as hard and as many phone calls, you have no idea. But I did get 2 proclamations, one from Tom Wolf, the governor, and I shall read that for you now if you will indulge me. Greetings. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone gathered for the Allegheny County Law Library's 150th anniversary. Libraries across the Commonwealth provide programs that enrich the lives of countless individuals and can only benefit from our support. Since its inception in 1867, the Allegheny County Law Libraries has served as a source of information and learning for residents across the Commonwealth. By giving area residents, law students, and legal professionals access to services and books, the Allegheny County Law Library gives individuals countless opportunities for personal and professional growth. This library has continued to ensure that all individuals, regardless of socioeconomic or personal factors, have access to vital resources for furthering their education. The Allegheny County Law Library has had an indelible impact on Allegheny County, and I am certain it will serve as a vital resource to individuals of all ages for years to come. As governor, and on behalf of all the citizens of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I am delighted to commemorate this milestone. Please accept my best wishes for an enjoyable event and continued success. Tom Wolf, Governor. I also received one from the county executive, Rich Fitzgerald. In recognition of its 150th anniversary, on April 15, 1867, Governor John W. Geary signed Pennsylvania Act Number 1211 into law, providing for the purchase and support of a county law library to be kept in or near the courthouse for the use of judges, attorneys, and area citizens. Today, 150 years later, the Free Law Library is located on the 9th floor of the City County building and is open to the public and legal professionals. In celebration of its 150th anniversary, an event including Duquesne University President Ken Gormley and Duquesne Law School Associate Dean, Allegheny County Law Library Director Frank Liu, will be held to provide members of the legal community to the opportunity to see the library's recent upgrades and renovations. On behalf of the nearly 1.3 million residents of the county, I congratulate the director and staff of the Allegheny County Law Library, as well as its users, on this anniversary, rich in history. Presented on this 10th day of November 2017, Rich Fitzgerald. I just want to let you know that this has been a labor of love for me. I've been a librarian all my life, and I thanked my sister just recently in a phone call. She was a school librarian. It's her fault I'm a librarian. But I actually thanked her because it is my calling. Let me say also that I did do a PowerPoint. It may come up onto our website. We have to check into that. But in the meantime, I will re-up it over here on this screen, and it's also showing in the CLE room, the PC lab. Please feel free to go take a look at the rich history of the Allegheny County Law Library. So, and before I go, somebody lost a pin, and I have that in my possession. So if it's yours, please come and see me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori. And we'll thank the governor and Richard for giving us these proclamations. This concludes our presentation. We thank you very much for attending. We hope you enjoyed it. And please continue to have some food and drink and speak to your friends and other people. And thank you for coming, everyone.